workplace, but they're not buying homes. They're not buying homes. Let's get to the bottom of this. Mark Bloom is a real estate expert. So, Mark, you having a tough time selling homes to these millennials lately, are you?
We're not having a tough time. So we're NetWorth Realty. We deal with mostly investors, and there are surprisingly a lot of young people that we see investing. But what the numbers are bearing out nationally is there are a couple of factors that and I think that it's because of what's going on in the economy. It's because of what continues to go on in the economy with things like student debt, as well as just the general experience of your average, everyday 20 to 35-year-old American and what they've seen and their life experience shows them that has left that group of people less inclined at that particular moment in time to buy a house right now.
Does this generation have more than difficult time than maybe other generations did when it came to home ownership?
I wouldn't say they have more of a difficult time. So here's my personal opinion as a student of real estate expert, as well as student of life, but I will not call myself a life expert. I think that the cost of education is rising continually. So when you graduate school, you graduate now with more debt than you've ever had before, and you graduate with a lower income than you're probably going to see at any point in your life from that point forward. At least that's the idea, is when you graduate, you're going to be making less than you will at any time in the future. So your debt to income is as lopsided as it probably will ever be unless you take on a very large amount of debt at some point in the future. So these kids have, and I say kids gingerly, these young adults, have a lot of debt and not a lot of income, which makes it very difficult to qualify for a loan. When you add in that we've gone through this real estate downturn, which has a couple of effects. One, it has increased the standards that lenders are looking for from their borrowers. So their debt to equity is a little out of whack, and the bank wants it better than they wanted it 5 or 6 years ago before the bust. As well, these people are just people. They've experienced the downturn in the real estate market. They're not 60 years old or 50 years old. They haven't seen 2 or 3 cycles in real estate. They don't necessarily believe or understand that this will come to pass, as all things do, and that real estate is a supply-demand market, just like any market, and that as populations grow in major metropolitan areas and you have a finite supply of real estate, that it will continue to grow.
Mark, so renting for them is probably the only viable option at this point?
Well, it is. It is more expensive on a dollar-for-dollar basis, day-to-day, month-to-month, because rents are higher than they were previously, because fewer people are buying than they were previously. But it allows them to have that flexibility that you need as a young person, that if you get that job offer that's 10 or 15 grand more than what you're making today, you can get up and leave, and you don't have to worry about selling a house, or even worse, worry about selling a house in a bad market where the value is below what you paid for it.
Got it. Mark Bloom's a real estate expert. NetWorthRealtyUSA.com. Millennials renting more than buying. 570 WSYR. Traffic and weather in 2 minutes.